while we were talking to Soundgarden that we would much rather be bowling, like we did the last show, which when we hooked up with you a couple months ago in Seattle for the great bowling. We came up with the realization that neither are we not very good bowlers, but the bowling alley in Seattle does not like when you throw shoes down the bowling alley. What else?
When you run down the alley as fast as you can.
They didn't like when Chris ran down the alley and slid into the pins.
Yeah.
That did not go over big.
Yeah.
Those boots.
They don't mind though when you tackle fat ladies.
They liked.
And they encouraged that. That's why they were giving us all that tequila.
and invited you back. So Soundgarden's in the middle of a tour, or is it actually the beginning of the tour right now, right, in America?
We're right, well, pretty much like the first...
it's like the beginning of the middle
25%.
It's on the first part of the middle.
I'd say that like today will be like 25.3% through the American tour.
How many shows do you have in America with this tour?
40 maybe.
We're doing 2 laps of America.
2 laps.
This is our first lap, and we're halfway through.
So as opposed, they used to call it the leg. I never got that, why we would call it the leg of a tour.
I never
so now it's called lap.
I don't want to be on a leg of anything, really.
Laps. Because then once you're crawling up and you're getting higher and higher up the leg of the tour, where are you?
And then which leg is it, too? Is it the first leg or the second leg?
Or the third. And then and then when you're on your third leg of the tour, it goes into a subject that you don't really want to talk about.
Then you're on like the left buttock of the tour, and then...
Before we get ourselves into dangerous ground, we're going to be back with more Soundgarden when HeadBangers Ball continues.
Baby arm.
We're back on the HeadBangers Ball with Soundgarden, and I hope you turned into the last segment because we found out a lot of things about Soundgarden, and sure, throughout this evening we will be finding out a lot more. For instance, on this tour, are you hitting states or cities that you haven't played at yet?
I don't think so.
Let's see. We played Kalamazoo. We've played your Cleveland. We've played your
Ogden was the one.
Ogden, yeah.
Oh, Fitchburg. Never played.
That's a rock and roll town, Fitchburg.
It rocks.
Fitchburg rocks.
So does Ogden. I mean, you know,
Ogden.
Yeah, the Osmonds were from there.
IRS.
Yeah.
And who comes from Fitchburg?
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 Yeah.
There's a big scene there, you know, in Fitchburg. I think Alice in Chains were originally also part of that big Fitchburg scene. We're having a close, in-depth look at Soundgarden. And what we've learned so far is, well, you would have had to have been watching to figure out what we learned. But we're going to be playing the video for Black Hole Sun, which... Now, how much say do you really have in video? Because I dig this video. I mean, it's pretty weird.
Well, you know, most videos are really our brainchild, and we don't really like taking credit for them. And this one...
Because this one is a really good one.
Yeah, and we didn't come up with this one, so...
What is the effect? I mean, the effect that makes all the faces, is that part of that? It's called morphing or something?
Computer, excuse me. I'm saying commuter because everyone's on strike here. You know, it's on my mind. That and the World Cup.
Because you can't really have a computer without commuters.
Yeah. Or the Gay Olympics.
Exactly, how it all ties in. But how do they do that effect with the computer?
Computer animation.
Morphing.
It's commuters that, you know, work on the computer animation.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be how it worked. But was there a certain look that you guys had for the video, or who was the director on that video?
Howard Greenlaw. Was that right? His last name's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like...
I think it's Fitchburg.
Howard. You've seen it really.
Howard Fitchburg?
Yeah. Anyway.
Did he have the whole concept and come to you with this video and say, this is how I like it? Or?
Sort of. No, we came to him and said, if you're going to do a treatment for a video, make sure that it's not like dark, black, smoky, rusty, steamy, like every other video that everyone wants to make with Soundgarden. Or like
there were no leaves in it either.
Or like half the videos on HeadBangers.
Oh, there were leaves. Yes, there were leaves, actually. You're right.
We were trying to avoid the apocalypse thing, you know? The abandoned warehouse, sort of rusty, post-apocalyptic setting. And a giant cyborg comes down to kill Soundgarden.
But there are fish and dogs.
Yeah.
And a fish and a dog and a Barbie on a rotisserie, and what more else do you need from a video?
Well, we wanted color. We wanted color, bright colors, vivid colors, you know?
We didn't want the color brown.
No brown or rust or...
We're going to watch the video when the HeadBangers Ball continues. One thing I think I said on one of the shows earlier, which I probably was wrong at. Are you guys playing the Woodstock Festival?
No, we're not. You didn't say we were, did you?
I think, you know what happened, to be quite honest, when
Did
we
you
were in
spread that
Seattle?
rumor?
No, yeah, I did. When we were in Seattle, you know what happened? I accidentally took a peek at your itinerary, and it said Woodstock on it. And that was before I even knew that there was a Woodstock festival.
Well, you probably didn't read that it said, like, proposed itinerary, and it wasn't the actual
You know what, the
itinerary.
word itinerary, I actually had to go back to my producer and said, what is that word? So when it was 2 long words, I couldn't remember the word proposed. So you're not playing the Woodstock Festival?
No.
Was that a vicious rumor that
That
I
you started? Yes. You got, you got one thing right today, that you screwed
that
up.
was one thing right? We're going to play a video for Black Hole Sun. Is there anything that any of you guys would like to say that we would be able to put on television?
Can you say morphing?
Huh? Morphing.
Morphing.
Fing. Not morphine.
Can I say buttock again?
You can say
Morphine's a great band.
Huh?
Morphine. Good
Which
band.
has nothing to do with commuters or computers.
No, here we are with Black Hole Sun.
The types of music we like and dislike, it's none of your business, really. But one of the bands that is going to be opening up for you that I'm a big fan of is Reverend Horton Heat. And how much say do you have in bands that are opening up for you?
We have all to say, basically.
Because you have Tad playing with you on the first lap.
Yes.
Have it.
And 11.
Uh-huh.
And we have a band from Australia called UMI that's going to be on the second leg.
With Reverend Horton Heat and us and...
And we like all those bands.
Do you think it's help when you see there's a big band like yourselves that get to see a new band that you really dig and take them out on the road with you and expose them to all new people?
Well, that happened with us. People took us out on the road.
Like?
You know, like, you name it. We
You got
went
your
out on the road
GNR,
with
you
them.
got your Skid Row, you got your Bon Jovis, you got
Your voice.
Barbra Streisand.
We went out with Quiet Riot.
Quiet Riot.
The Nuge in his prime.
Damn Yankees.
Damn Yankees.
Dicks, we definitely
Saw you with Boston before. You gonna come back out with a new Boston record?
No, we're sticking with the Super
Guest
Tramp
appearances on
reunion.
the Boston 3.
Yeah.
We're gonna be playing some more videos right now. Probably none of the videos from bands that we just mentioned, but you never know. Stay tuned.
Less than a feeling.
We've got Soundgarden as our guests on the HeadBangers Ball. Now, when the record came out, it entered the charts at #1, which a lot of the times you ask people, and it's like, oh, we didn't care, we didn't pay attention to the charts, but it's got to be, I mean, pretty flattering to have an album enter the charts at #1.
Yeah.
Or does it really not matter?
Well, you know, it matters, and you think it's really cool until Ace of Base knocks you out of first. And then you start thinking, you know, this really doesn't mean anything.
Ace of Base didn't enter #1. They earned their #1.
Yeah.
They just fought their way to
Well,
the
they paid
top.
their dues, you know? I mean, there was a lot of struggling because they also went out on the road with the Guns N' Roses, Skid Rows, the Nugents.
Sticks.
But you know, it didn't, you know, the first week we were really important, and the second week we just thought, you know, it has nothing to do with true artistic expression being #1 on Billboard.
Do you ever look at the charts to see how stuff is doing, or does it matter?
Oh, it matters.
It's interesting, actually. It's interesting how many millions of people buy it.
How many millions of people have bought this record so far?
I think it's 20 million now?
20 million.
Or is it 40 million?
That's none more million.
It's like, that's the problem. When you go to #1, how much higher can you go? None
Go to
much higher.
-4.
None much higher.
Well, you can just stay at #1.
Because I think from what I
sell
heard,
lot
you sold
more
1 million
records.
in Fitchburg alone.
I think so. That's why we're going there.
Exactly. I think you could do a couple nights. And
We're going to do like a Billy Joel
last time I checked,
leg.
Ace of Base did not sell 1 million in Fitchburg. So I think Soundgarden and Fitchburg, there's something there.
We're back with our pawn.
We're having a good time here in the HeadBangers Ball with Soundgarden. And Chris, next week on the ball, we've got Alice Cooper's our guest.
Oh, cool.
And you just worked with Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Wrote a song for him.
Two songs. A while ago, actually. The songs were written a while ago, and then actually it took him a while to make this record, so they were kind of floating around, and he's doing sort of a concept record that involves a couple comic books, you know, so there's a sort of story behind the whole trip, and somehow my songs kind of fit in there. And so he recorded them.
As far as I know, Ace of Base is not writing anything with Alice Cooper or has anything comic book going on, so there's another thing that...
No, but I am
They
writing
got
for
that
Ace of
grit
Base.
underneath their fingernails from clawing their way to the top.
They pay their dues.
I wrote that one hit they got, you know, that one hit? I don't know it. But I wrote it.
I think it was I Saw Divine.
I wrote that.
Being in a band that had a #1 record, do you now have the opportunity to maybe work with people that you wouldn't have had
Like
a
Quincy
chance
Jones?
to, or something like that?
I don't think so.
Are there seriously any people that you would really like to work with, or even meet, or play with, or anything like that?
No.
They're all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead.
So that kind of blows that chance.
Well, I don't think you have to have a #1 record to do that kind of thing.
Do you think that there's a whole, for instance, Black Hole Sun was a song that might be the first Soundgarden song that anybody had ever heard before?
Could be.
Because it was played on a lot of radio, and even though it's a kind of a mellower song, and do you think that that song maybe in particular exposed you to a whole lot of new Soundgarden fans? And are you seeing new people at the Soundgarden shows?
It's hard to tell, you know.
Credit card carrying jocks.
Is that bad?
No.
Not if they got a card, not if they're card holders.
The problem is it's not their cards.
Yeah.
We're going to come back and play something else from Superunknown when Headbangers Ball continues. Had to come inside. That's another story that I'm sure those crazy heavy metal kids don't really want to hear about. Now, being that Soundgarden has sold many more records than you did on the last record, you're obviously playing bigger places. Now, the place that you played in New York was the Armory, which is kind of like a unique place to play. I mean, not a lot of bands play there. What type of places are you playing now?
Did I mention we have music on a new CD-ROM coming out?
No, please tell me about that question that I wanted to ask you. You said don't mention. Tell me about the places real quick that you're playing. What is the average size of
it goes
venues?
From like 5,000 to 15,000, and some of them are like the Armory. It's just this huge old room that I don't think they've had rock shows in for a while. And there's actually guys in fatigues walking around.
Yeah, there was a colonel in our dressing room.
And guns and stuff.
They're hiding the bombs.
Majors walking around.
That's a good thing. Now tell me about the CD-ROM. There's
weird.
a video game called Road Rash, which I dig. It's a motorcycle video game.
It's great.
And you're doing music for the video game.
They took some of our songs we'd already recorded.
Existing songs?
Threw them in there, basically, yeah.
So then they gave you free video games.
We didn't like write for it or anything. They just took.
Yeah, we're currently working on our new music for video games.
We would have never done that, except for it's such a totally cool game. That's the only
You get
reason
to knock people off of motorcycles and stuff like that.
You get to kill police.
Which we don't suggest in the video game. We don't suggest any type of violence here on the Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
We're going to play a video from Soundgarden right now called Spoon Man. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about this guy, Spoon Man, who I think has even been at some of the shows. Here's Soundgarden. To the Headbangers Ball here with Soundgarden. And a little bit earlier you saw the video for Spoon Man, who the Spoon Man guy, his name is
Artist.
Artist. And he's a guy that...
Or as Bill calls him, Arvin.
A guy that plays with spoons.
Yeah.
Where did you find this guy?
In the cutlery section at the... no, he's played around Seattle, you know, street performing.
What does he do? He just plays music with spoons, or?
Yeah, he sings and plays with other people sometimes, and he plays spoons, you know, and like he plays spoons, sort of a rhythmic kind of percussion thing.
Was the song written about him?
Yeah, well, more or less. Him or like the, you know...
Him or just any other guy that plays with spoons?
Him or like
musically?
street performers and how they're perceived, and you know, by the average person, but how it's sort of a misconception that somebody that does that for a living is like a street person, heathen, drug addict, lowlife.
And what have you found about most of the people that are the street performers?
Well, it's a job like anything else, and you know, they'd probably rather be doing that than washing dishes for somebody.
They're very dedicated.
Probably playing spoons rather than washing the spoons.
Well, he doesn't have to wash his spoons because he's so famous now that he has someone else do that for him.
And he's...
Spoon tech.
a spoon roadie.
Yeah.
Can we have a spoon check?
Check. Tink,
We're going to
tink.
be back with Danzig and talk to Soundgarden on tonight's Headbangers Ball. A little bit earlier about Spoon Man. And do you see stuff, I mean, as you're walking like on the road, or that you find as inspiration for songs?
Like roadkill?
Or things laying on the side of the road, or...
I just wait for people to say something. People say things that you'd never think of.
Like computers and commuters in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
That's a song, Ricky.
So if the next record is the computer commuters from Fitchburg, remember, I started that whole scene, man, the whole scene. So how long is this whole thing going in America? The lapsed legs, the whole craziness.
Through the end of the summer.
And then what's planned after that?
10-day break in the middle of July.
We get to go back to Europe.
Do you like playing in Europe? Because it seems... what are the reasons, since I don't think that they're going to be watching some of this? Actually, certain areas of Europe might be.
And parts of it are good.
Yeah, it's European is the one thing, and then the other thing is it's like you have to take a long flight over there, and then you feel sort of stranded, and the food's different, you know, and it's well, it's European.
Bleak
No, it's
world.
great. We love going to Europe. Actually, it's really cool.
Are there certain things that you do to try to keep yourself sane on the road? Because from what I hear, like the whole road process just gets kind of crazy after a while. Just show every night.
What's
the things you used
what's
to
the
like
daily
online?
OJ update?
Yeah, what is
To
the
create
daily?
diversions.
Yeah, like, you know, like playing the show. That's a diversion. It's not that bad. You get used to it.